JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Dunaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, BuyAToyota.com, your official site for Toyota deals. The original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back into the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Beach TV, and now this season on 47 ABC and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach, coming to you from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street in Ocean City with Ravens News 44. Give yourself a hand. And of course, as I always stress, we invite all Ravens fans across the peninsula to the show. We've got Ravens tickets giveaways, Bud Light prize packages, hotel giveaways as well, especially for the holiday season. If you're living, say, in Easton or Cambridge, you see the show, you come down, you want a hotel stay, you're going to enjoy a great weekend in Ocean City and get some nice shopping done as well. Mike Bradley from 105.7 The Fan and locally on 92.7 WGMD. Spencer Tillis from ABC 47. He is the sports director there. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And, of course, Bobby Vermillion, no stranger, host of the Resort Golf Guide. And what are a couple of the other shows that you host, Bobby?
Endless Golf.
Endless Golf, and then you're Mid-Atlantic-wise, you're on a couple of
well, Endless
networks.
Golf is in the Mid-Atlantic. It's on Masson and also on Root Sports Pittsburgh, and then Comcast Sportsnet up in Philadelphia.
All right. And, of course, former host of the Stallion Sports Show
I
as well.
miss him, too. Matter of fact, the Stallion was in Tampa. He was at the game this weekend, and I'm sure he had a big time. So I know if you ask him, that's the reason they won, for sure.
Bingo, baby. Well, hey, we'll touch upon the defense because I do want to get into that aspect. I know we tend to hearken on the offense a lot, and because, you know, we're fans are more offensively inclined anyway. Although in Baltimore, that may not be true entirely. But I want to get back to Joe Flacco for just a second, though. And I talk about this, guys, and Bobby, I'll start with you, with the evolution of the Ravens. Now, early on with Ted Marchibroda, had a great offense. Defense was horrible. Then we kind of did a 180. You know, we had a good run game, but we never really had an explosive offense, heavily defensive-oriented. Went through the Billick years. We did win a Super Bowl, but we were up and down. In comes John Harbaugh, and they kind of go through an identity crisis, but I do think with Cam Cameron, though, the offense got better, and the front office did a better job drafting guys and getting better offensive players and becoming more balanced. And now we've evolved to Gary Kubiak, who is our offensive coordinator, best coordinator we've had, probably best offensive staff that we've had since the Ted Marchibroda days and the staff that he had. And when you take a look at Joe Flacco, now that the coaching staff's been elevated and now that he's got probably the most talent that he's ever had, you do see the results of this. And I have to admit, I was a skeptic of the West Coast offense for him, but boy, it's really worked.
Well, Steve Bisciotti, the owner, obviously comes and does the Ravens Wrap once a year normally. And 2 years ago, I think he alluded to this, in that the Ravens are spending more money on the offensive side of the football. Follow the money. Obviously, we all know about Joe's contract, but you get a free agent like Steve Smith, not a huge expense, but the pieces around Joe have gotten better because they're spending more money on the offensive side of the football. If you go back 5 or 6 years, you know, we had a lot of players on the defensive side of the ball with Suggs and Ray Lewis and Haloti Ngata making a lot of money. So you only have so much money to spend. And one of the things you have to do, and Steve Bisciotti alluded to this, is you have to let younger guys step up. You have to take a chance on the guys you drafted and let them play to see if they can play, because you can't pay everybody the big money. So I think you're starting to see some younger players on offense evolve. I think you see a quarterback that's getting paid a lot of money, who now has some weapons, that's playing a little bit better because he is a veteran now. And I think you are seeing a little shift more towards the offensive side. And the way the game's played now, really that has to happen. You have to be good on defense, don't get me wrong, but you also have to put points on the board, because with the officiating and the way the game's being played right now, you know, 20 points in a game may not get it done.
Spencer, one of the things that Flacco's always been criticized for is his completion percentage. Now, he was in an Air Coryell offense where deeper passes down the field, not as high percentage pass, but this year completing almost 64% of his passes, 12 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. When you talk about the really good quarterbacks in the league, their completion percentages are at 65% on average.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel, and he went 21 for 29, this week, and it wasn't exactly another bad performance. I mean, he has some highs, he has some lows, and
no question.
That's always been the criticism of him. It's just not a consistent thing. But he had a 99.7 QBR this last week, and that's the second highest in the last 5 years behind the Vic game, what was just ridiculous when he played the Redskins. I mean, when he is high, he's definitely one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
And Mike and Spencer, the one thing that kind of was funny to me 2 weeks ago, all the pundits on ESPN and the NFL Network, Tom Brady's done. He's old. It's over. He had a bad game. He had a bad couple of games, and neither was I. And now, 2 weeks later, he has two great games back to back. Now he's the Tom Brady of old again. So, and he's lost some weapons, and you're going to see what happens with him because Ridley's obviously out, and he's worked his way through it. It's not a perfect science. You're not going to have great games. You alluded to the coaching. Coaches aren't going to coach well every week. Players aren't going to play well every week. It's just an up-and-down league, a lot to do with matchups, and you can never get too high on a win like the Ravens just had, and you can never get to a low on a loss like they had in Indianapolis.
And what was the issue with Brady? Offensive line. What was the issue with the Ravens last year? Offensive line. Yeah, I never heard anybody crying about Flacco's lack of an offensive line last year from the national media, but I'd say a couple weeks ago in the Monday night game against Kansas City, they were crying, get Tom Brady help. Never heard that about Joe last year.
Because he's Tom Brady.
So is it, yeah. Now, by the way, Joe Flacco was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week, so much deserved with his 5 touchdown passes. Yeah, that's worth a congratulations. No question about it. Let's talk about the running game. Justin Forsett now, Spencer, has claimed that role, and he's the last guy of the trio of backs coming into the season that we thought, I mean, obviously putting Rice aside, that situation's over with, but of the backs that were left, he's the last guy that I thought that would be the starter. You'd think of him as the third down back. 14 carries, 111 yards. Yeah. He's our starter right now.
Yeah, and he showed a little game breaker, too. I mean, he had some big-time runs, and you're right, 14 carries for 111 is... That is just getting it done. That starts, too, with the line. Again, I feel like they're winning up. They're getting some good holes. And then once he hits that second level, you did see that explosion. But if the running game can continue to produce like that, I mean, the offense can just keep rolling.
Yeah. You look at a guy, like Justin Forsett, and here's a guy who's played behind some good backs. He was behind Marshawn Lynch out in Seattle. He played behind Arian Foster in Texas. And now as a guy who's got his chance. His chance to shine. And he's healthy. I think the big question mark for him and why he was questioned to be an every down back was because could he stay healthy? Obviously, a small guy, he's not as stout as Ray Rice was, but he's got that quickness and he's got that little twitch. And when he gets to the hole in that one cut, and if he cuts back, he's got a lot of speed and a lot of quickness, and he's a guy that looks really good in that offense. Again, that offense fits him, and I think it fits Taliaferro too. I think those two guys really wait, and they're a little bit more patient than a guy like Bernard Pierce. I think he's still finding his way a little bit, but he's a bigger guy, a banger. I think he can be more effective, but it may take him a little longer to get used to the system. But you can see how comfortable Forsett is in this offense.
Yeah, Pierce got the lion's share of carries, actually one more than Justin Forsett, but only 32 yards rushing. I mean, it's good he's back in the mix, and they're going to need him for more carries because Justin Forsett is not a big guy, Spencer, so they can't put him in there and have him rush 25 times a game. That's not going to happen. They're going to have to be, I think, careful with the workload that he gets, just like Darren Sproles gets with the Eagles.
Yeah, they definitely, and you looked at it in that game, they did that. They bounced it off, and I think that's something that's going to pay dividends, not just in individual games where you see they still have their legs under them in the fourth quarter, but down the stretch, if you're able to bounce off carries between your 3 backs and keep them fresh throughout the year, that comes huge towards when you get, week 15, week 16, when you need to have those legs still under them.
And Mike alluded to that a couple weeks ago when we had the 3-headed monster with McClain, McGahee, and Rice. So, a good time, a good offense then. It worked out. The key is everybody's happy, too. You don't see anybody who's greedy in that backfield. They don't mind coming out of the game. They're getting their reps. They're getting their chances. And it seems like everybody's clicking on offense. Get Torrey Smith involved. Steve Smith's obviously been a big factor. And Daniels has been great as far as filling in with the loss of Dennis Pitta.
That's a great point because here's a guy that had a lot of injury history over the last couple of years, and Owen Daniels has really done a great job stepping up for Pitta. Got a couple of touchdowns, I believe 21 catches so far, so it's good to see. And the weapons, a lot of weapons. So let's go back to wide receiver for a second. Michael Campanaro, a great story. Kid went to River Hill High School, which is an excellent program, 2A, 3A program, I believe, out of Howard County. Has won multiple state championships. He had a great 4-year career there. He goes on to Wake Forest, gives Maryland nightmares, but comes back. Local boy done good, waiting for his opportunity. He got it. He made an unbelievable catch, Spencer, against a defensive back that was right on him. And it's good to see that, but it really speaks to the depth of the wide receiver position when you've got your sixth guy who's kind of more special teams and wide receiver, at least right now, making a touchdown catch like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The other half of that is I think it kind of speaks to the fact that Jacoby Jones has not shown up this year, and now they're trying to find a piece to plug in to maybe where he would have been in that role. But he definitely took advantage of that opportunity. I mean, he ends up with a touchdown. He had a great performance right there, but I still feel like I look at Jacoby Jones and wondering what is going on right there.
He did have the kick return, and hopefully that.
Special teams, you're absolutely right. He had a lot of. I think he finished with 80-something yards and 2 kickoff returns. And I mean, if you can flip the field like that, you're going to make your presence felt. You're going to make a difference. But when it comes, on set plays on offense, he just hasn't really contributed there yet.
Yeah, he had the drop. I was hoping that one catch, Bobby, that he had against Indianapolis might have started to get something going, but it didn't. But that said, I mean, the targets went to a lot of other guys than Jacoby right now. Yeah, he is going to have to work his way out of it. And with Marlon Brown out, he kind of had that opportunity. But the Ravens got not only Campanaro in there, but Kamar Aiken, a special teams guy, pretty much the last receiver on the roster. And he had a touchdown catch.
He did, and I'll say something that was interesting. I watched Ravens Wired last night, and Brandon Williams was wired this week. And when Campanaro made the catch and got the touchdown, Brandon Williams, we know the nose tackle for us, he said, the guy's always open. He's always open in practice. Even when he's not open, he's open. So here's a guy on the defensive side of the ball that goes to practice and sees this every day. And he's impressed with the rookie. So obviously the Ravens saw something in him, during the last few weeks and in training camp. He's been making plays during practice, which we're not privy to. We don't get to see that, but he earned his chance. He's earned his stripes. He made a great play, and it was a great play. He wasn't exactly open. He went up and got that football.
Spencer, let's talk about the fact that the Ravens up 38-0, still have the starters in there. John Harbaugh got some questions asked to him, and we got about 60 seconds. But as he talked about, look, this is a league where there are professionals on the other side of the ball. Not a lot of other teams necessarily just pull all their starters after 38-0. The week before, Cleveland came back and beat Tennessee down big. Just your thoughts on that philosophy.
It's tough. I'm somewhere in between with it. I mean, I think with the change in the rules, it's become a lot easier for offenses to catch fire, and then a couple possessions later, all of a sudden they're right back in the thing.
Great point.
And so I understand, and it was so early in the game. I mean, they had scored, they jumped out to that lead at the start of the second quarter. I mean, you still have a ton of the ball game left. I didn't necessarily have a big issue with it. I mean, there's always the fear of injuries and everything else that comes with leaving them out at that point, but with the way the league is now, you have to keep your foot to the pedal until you're really down the stretch.
And you got to trust the coaches in that situation, too. The other thing is, first possession, Tyrod Taylor fumbles the ball. So
good point. More of the Ravens Wrap Show to come. Comcast Beach TV, ABC 47 and 93.5 The Beach. Keep it here.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Really?
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you could win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.